Hi, friends. It's good to see you here today. I'm excited to be here to interview Jamie Ogle. But I'm glad that you are here today, and I am excited about your new book. Congratulations.
Thank
I've been
you.
excited about this book for a long time, and yeah, congratulations. That's so awesome. It's finally here in print of Love and Treason. It is officially the only Christian fiction book I have in hardcover, except for my own.
I know when you said you were ordering a hardcover, I was like, oh my goodness, I wouldn't even order my book in hardcover.
Come on. Like, surely your mom did, though, at least, right?
She
Your
did,
mom and
yes.
me.
Yes.
I don't even know why, because it doesn't, like fit in with my shelves now with all the other books, but I don't know. I guess it gets to be special.
Now it
But it
gets to
is a very special book. And yeah, congratulations. It's been a long journey with the, writing and editing and trying to get an agent and getting an agent and querying and being rejected and querying and being rejected. And here we are.
yeah.
And praise God, right?
Yeah, it is just totally a story of God just leading and orchestrating the whole thing. So it's been amazing.
I love it. Um, so this is the official Christian Mommy Writers interview, but also I probably would have interviewed you anyway because I could not pass up the opportunity to celebrate with you, and I really would have gone to the live event if it had been at all feasible. But since my kids had the flu, it's probably best I didn't. But
Thank
um,
you.
it looks like you guys had a fun party, though. Did a lot of people come to that?
Yeah, I told my sister to bring board games because I was like, it might be just us playing games at a table. And no, it was so nice. Like the community showed up and friends and family, and it was really great. It was so fun. Yeah.
Did they put it like in the local papers up there and stuff, or how
Yeah,
did?
they had yeah, and my mom and sisters put it everywhere, like everywhere
Awesome.
on homeschool group
Uh,
pages and the paper posters everywhere. So they did just an awesome job. It was a lot of fun.
Before I get into the interview, I just want to say to anybody watching, do not underestimate the homeschool community when when you are marketing a book. The homeschoolers are huge readers, and they are a great a great audience to target. So just keep that in the back of your mind, because that's a lot of readers are in that community. That's
Hmm.
great. Let's get started. Welcome, Jamie Ogle, author of Love and Treason. So first tell us, when did you first fall in love with writing?
Um, that's been like forever, ever since I could write. I've always loved stories, and so when I figured out that those little squiggly marks on paper were words and stories, like I had to make them for myself. So, yeah, I feel like I don't remember a time when I wasn't doing it. I'm sure there was, but I felt like I was always either telling stories or writing them down, as far as I can remember. And I was a homeschooler, so mom taught me how to read and write, and so thanks, mom.
What was the first story idea that you can remember, at least, that really made you feel like you wanted to try to write a book?
Oh, okay. The first story I wrote was, it was terrible. It was, yeah. That one was, I don't know, it was like five. But the one that made me want to write a book, um, I mean, the first, I wrote so many things that were like middle grade novels when I was like in that age group. So probably it was about a bunch of kids who like built forts in the woods and had all kinds of adventures together. That was probably the first thing I wrote that was like, I felt like that was my book.
So you were probably
I don't know.
like middle
And
school, young teenager, or somewhere around there.
yeah.
Did you like take writing courses throughout high school? I mean, other than like basic school, but did you like actually work to develop or is it just a hobby at this point?
It was just a hobby. And then in high school, I did some post-secondary classes and it was like essay writing, but not like creative writing.
Okay. So then how did you get to like, no, I really like, this isn't just like something I'm doing as a kid. This is what I actually want to do. And I'm actually going to like invest in this.
I had written a novel in high school and read it to my parents, and they were like, "This is really good. You should try to get it published or something." And so that was sort of the initial like, oh, maybe I could do this. Maybe I could be good at this, and sort of pursued that a little bit. And then, but I didn't think about making a career out of it. It was more like that was a fun thing, and I wrote a book and I finished it, and that was fun. And then I was like, I'm going to go to school for elementary education. And I started that, and it was miserable.
Huh.
It's like, I am not cut out for this at all. Which is funny because now I'm a homeschool mom and my kids are all in elementary education. Now I'm still an elementary educator, but it's different.
Right.
It's fun.
Really different though.
It is, yeah. And I got married when I was 20, and my husband was like, if you're miserable, don't keep going to school for this and wasting money on this degree that you're going to hate. And, what do you want to do? I was like, well, I just want to write. That's what I really love. I love to write and tell stories. And he was the first one to encourage me to like, change your major, do that then. Like, go be a writer, just be a writer then, don't just take these classes and then not use them ever. Like, if you're going to do this, really do it. So yeah, so I changed my major to writing. It was awesome. I loved it. And slowly pursued. I mean, it's a long process, but pursued it ever since.
Yeah. So did he read your stuff back then?
He did. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That was
The reason I'm like, you obviously know that I went more in depth with the questions here than what I had sent you. And the reason is because I'm so fascinated by this, because that's the point, like that high school point, that's the point where like you and I were on a similar path. And then I was like, I wrote this book and no one's ever going to see it. I'm not going to show it to my parents. And I made no effort to like hone that skill at that point. It was kind of like I got to that point and then like hid away my talent, and you got to that point and put it out there and got feedback and continued going, and saved yourself a lot of years. So way to go.
I don't know if I saved myself a lot of years. I mean, it's still, I don't know.
Well,
15 years.
It's a marathon in any which way you slice it. It's a marathon any which way you slice it. Like it just takes time. Yeah. So Love and Treason is a very powerful book. It has some very powerful messages and some very vivid characters. So what is it that you, as a writer, really want your readers to know and feel when they pick up a book? And obviously there's something very poignant about Of Love and Treason, but like in general with all of your writing also, like what is it that you are striving for your writers, for your readers to know and feel with the Jamie Ogle book?
I mean, for me, when I write, stories that move me are stories that point me to God and that have me re-examine my life and my walk with God. And they either push me to him or, make me ask questions or dive into the Bible more. Like that would be just the best thing is when I get messages from people, even, within the few, the week or whatever this has been out, like that have said like, this has really encouraged me and I want to grow in my faith. And that's the best. I mean, that's more than I could have ever hoped that my writing could do. So I hope that they see God and they see his sacrificial love for them and how that is the truest, most beautiful love. And
I'm totally in agreement with that because, I believe that is the point of Christian fiction. It's just one more way that we display God and show what living a life with him and for him looks like, and just how he's worthy, is good and lovely. And Of Love and Treason, is a very well, it's a lot of things. But it's a really poignant example of that, because it's really like in your face. Like, you cannot escape this. Like, there is a definite decision between, like, are you going to believe with your whole heart and therefore with your actions that God truly is good, right? And see that on display, or are you going to really just cling to this world and seek to find like your fulfillment here? And that's really the choice that all the characters in this book had, and multiple times throughout the book. And that's the choice that all of us have every day too.
Yeah, I think that was the cool thing of looking at the early church and all of the pressure that they had, like really bad pressure. I mean, life and death pressure to conform to the world around them. And then to look at our world today, and there is a lot of pressure to conform
Yeah.
and to, just ease up on some of our beliefs here, and, it'll be a little bit easier for us. But it's the same. I mean, it's the same things that they're facing then. Maybe not death for us here, but it's still, is God worthy of this sacrifice in my life? Do I give up this thing that makes my life a little easier, or I fit in a little better?
Yeah.
Do I give that up because He is worthy of it, or do I just take the path of least resistance and just live my life of ease here? So it's a question of how sovereign is God in our lives, and if He is worthy of our worship in all aspects, or just a few.
But there was something about the way that you wrote it that I just felt like it was so joy filled. Like, it wasn't a decision like, do I have to give up all these things for God? Like, it was like a drudgery, but there was something like truly joyous in this choice. And that's what I think made what could have been like a very, deep, dark, sad book into something that was really hope filled. And that line that you walked, I think, is really what made this book a treasure. Because I think you were honest about the fact that, a life with God is, He does bring us joy. There is joy in His presence and in His promises.
Yeah.
So I appreciated that. Do you, you've spent a lot of years in the Roman Empire, and you went there because of St. Valentine. Do you ever see yourself going back there again? And now that you have this just plethora of knowledge and all these
you,
years invested there.
you mean like in writing,
Yeah.
or oh, yeah, I don't know, plethora of knowledge. There's so much about it. um yeah, the second book takes place in the eastern portion of the Roman Empire, so that's we'll be diving into that, the edits on that
Oh,
one next month. And then
okay. So that
yeah,
is still okay. I didn't know that where in history that had landed.
yep. So that's the eastern portion of the Roman Empire, and then yeah, we'll just see what the next books bring. I like the early Roman Empire, the late Roman Empire, with the, there's so much happening within the church then, and so much happening in the world, and I think it's just an exciting point in history to learn about. So
Mm-hmm.
there's lots of stories in
Cool.
there.
What are some things that have surprised you about your writing journey?
About the journey, um, probably that starting out, I felt like, oh man, I am ready. Like, let's go. Let's
Yeah.
get this book out there. Let's, um, I was just so gung ho and eager for just like, let's get this. Yes, let's go. And as, the no's came, and the rejection, and the humbling, and the, all that, it turned into like, oh, like a reality check, like, oh, this is going to be a lot harder than I thought, and this is going to take a lot more time than I
Mm-hmm.
thought. And there's some, like, chafing in that a little bit, like, oh
Yeah.
man, like, this book is totally ready. Like, doesn't anybody notice that?
Yeah.
But
That's what I thought. Hey, when I read that like 3 or 4 years ago, that was what I thought. So
I know, and there was a lot of voices like, like, hey, it's ready, just go, indie publish. It's so, just get it out there. It's easy, and like, take that path. And I'm very controlling And so like, ooh, yeah, that's like up my alley. Like I will do that. But I just felt God very strongly like, nope, this is a thing that we're going to do together, and you're going to learn, and you're going to like follow my lead on this. And it's going to be a time of just refining you and your heart and all this. And it really was. And so at the, now that it's out and I can kind of look back on that whole, years of just that journey, man, I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't go back and have this yes happen any earlier, because it was just God showing up and God leading and me like learning how to follow. And I'm still learning how to follow. But just to be able to look back and see that whole journey from this end
It's so cool.
yeah, it's amazing. And I wouldn't go back and cut out any portion of that, any of those rejections or anything. So maybe that's surprising, maybe on this end, that, or I would have been surprised earlier
Right.
to hear me say this. But
I think I forgot what I was going to say, but just the amount of time that passes, I think that's the point where a lot of people might not be willing to stay the course. And what makes you stay the course is you really have to believe that you're in the right place. And it sounds like you were really getting that from the Lord, not just from other
yeah.
people. And I think that's what makes the difference about whether people stick it out or not. And I'm not saying everyone should stick it out, for some people that's not the path that God wanted them to be on. And I think it's so cool that like you really feel like you had a definite reason to keep going at that point.
Yeah, I think that's like my number one advice for anybody like writing and going on, like embarking on this journey with the book, is like, okay, like pray about it though, and make sure that this is where God wants you. And then be okay if God is leading you on this journey. And then at the end, like you have to kind of learn to be okay with, maybe we're going on this journey and then God is going to be like, nope, you've learned what I want you to learn, and there's no publishing at the end of this.
Yeah.
That was that was something I had to wrestle with too. Like, what if this whole journey is just going to be me and God, and then he's going to be like, well, this was the lesson we want.
Yeah.
Now you've learned the lesson, and there's not going to be there's not going to be a book at the end. But to learn to be okay with that, and like that, the journey and growth with the Lord is so worth it. And sometimes
like
our
the
desire
surrender was actually surrender, not surrender so you could get what you wanted at the end of it.
Yeah. And that's a hard thing to do.
But isn't it true though that a lot of times God does that, takes us on the same journey as the one that our characters are on, because that's a lot of parallel of like what's happening with the characters in Love and Treason. Like, is our surrender like actually surrender, like all the way?
Yeah. It was funny how that sort of all was like, editing and working into that story, and like, this is interesting.
Yeah. I've been there. That was
I feel like a lot
to
of
be their
authors
problem, not my problem.
Yeah, you got to be careful what problems you decide to write
I
about.
know.
It kind of crops up in your own life. So,
have you had to sacrifice anything for the sake of your writing journey?
yeah, I mean, I think with anybody who invests a lot of time in an area is also sacrificing, something else in their life. And so when I decided that like now is the time to like really pour my energy into writing, I'd had 3 kids, and I was doing all the things. I was doing the homesteading and raising and growing most of our food, and I was sewing clothes for the kids, and I was quilting, and I was doing all these things. And it was like, okay, I can't do all the things. So what are the things I'm going to give up? And, it sort of slowly started with okay, I won't quilt as much, or I won't make their clothes, or I won't, stuff like that. And then when the writing contract came, we also got news that we were going to need to move.
Yeah.
And so we moved to Iowa and left all of the gardens and the chickens behind. And so now we're in a home where we could have all that again, but it's just not here. So it's been like 2 years of forced rest and like just being able to focus on homeschooling and writing, and that's pretty much all that I've been doing since we've moved. And without God sort of orchestrating that move, there's no way I would have been able to do all of the things. And I don't like to say no. So,
Right.
so God sort of helped me do that, helped me sacrifice those other things. But
Do you still have the bees?
still have the bees.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And I'm hoping to get chickens this spring. So we'll see. They're at least mostly self-sufficient and not super,
Yeah. And now
hands-on
your
work.
kids are old. They can help with stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. I'll make it their job.
Can you tell us about what you're currently working on?
The next book, which we're starting edits on, is the story of Saint Nicholas, set in the eastern part of the Roman Empire, which is what is modern day Turkey. And so it's on like the beautiful shores of the Mediterranean, and but it's under the reign of Emperor Diocletian. So we have the worst persecution in human history.
Wow.
And then you think about the legend of Saint Nicholas and how he's helping people through this time. So it's an exciting story, and I'm excited to share more about it. But
Do you know the title yet, even if you can't tell us?
I have a working title, but it's not official. So
Okay.
I just keep calling it the Nicholas book. Mm-hmm. So that's the Nicholas book.
Okay, cool. Do you have a three-book contract, or what is your contract?
It's two.
Okay.
So it's these two.
Just these two.
Yep. So it takes place, after of Love and Treason, but some of the characters kind of sneak in so we can see what they've been up to.
Hey, that's exciting news.
Yeah.
That's cool. What is something you love to do when you're not writing? Which you mentioned some things, but is there anything you wanted to answer differently here?
Yeah, I mean, I still love to garden and beekeep and chickens and all that, and read. I mean, now if I have any spare time, I'm reading.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
how
I didn't hear you say marketing. You didn't say marketing, Jamie, and writing newsletters?
No. I gotta do that. I need to do that better.
Don't worry.
Yeah.
It's a very rare author who says that that's one of their favorite parts.
It's not as bad. Like, I always psych myself up. Just oh man, no, I have to write a newsletter, and then I keep putting it off and dreading it. And then I do it, and oh, that wasn't so bad. I did that in just a few minutes. That wasn't okay. But then I'll do it the next month. Oh no, I have to do it again. It's not that bad.
So I've been frustrated because with my newsletter company that I use, I've just felt really limited. Like it doesn't do like the cool designs that I want to be able to do. I just felt like my newsletters were kind of plain. And finally, like one of my friends sent a newsletter the other day who had like the same company that I use. And I was like, how did you do that? Like you did these cool designs. And I just got digging into my database and I found out how to do it, like on my dashboard. And I was like, all this time.
Oh,
it was there all along.
So, subscribe to all the newsletters because you get to see what everybody's doing and all the pretty things put in there.
You get good ideas.
Yeah.
See what other people are good at. That's fun. What are you looking forward to reading soon? You could mention one or many things, but what are you looking forward to in your TBR?
Is forever long.
Yeah.
I'm reading The Lost Boys of Barlow Theater by Jamie Jo Wright right now. Cool. And then up next, I'm going to do Up from Dust by Heather Kaufman. Cool. And I'm so excited for that one. I've heard amazing things. So
awesome. Yeah. She had the same release day as you with Tyndale, right?
Yep.
And you met her in person at the ACFW? Cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's so sweet.
Yeah. What advice would you give to other moms who want to write?
Well, I kind of mentioned it earlier, just praying and making sure that this is really the path God wants for you, because it's going to be hard And, you need that confidence to push through the hard, that this is the path that God wants you on. And yeah, and the sacrifices of things you're going to have to set aside for it. So prayer and seeking after God is number one. And then just do it.
And you're one of
Finish.
those early morning writers. So I feel like that's just a whole level of dedication and believing you're in the right place. That's a new level.
It's just desperation, Heather. I just need some quiet time. Just happens to be at 5 a.m.
How can we be praying for your writing journey?
Just to just be able to discern God's leading in these next stories and the next ideas that I'm coming up with. I have a bunch of ideas, and it's like, but I want to know the right one that God wants me working on right now. So discernment in that, and just
So at this point, whatever you're writing next, like you're writing a proposal and pitching.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's not a guaranteed contract here.
Yeah, not yet. No. And then just balance with, there's so many things tugging at your time, which, I'm just kind of getting into all the, things, with all, messages and emails and all that kind of thing. And I could sit on my phone all day long, answering things or, whatever. And so just the balance and being able to put the phone down and be present with my family and, just all that balance.
Well, now that you're a famous published author, I'm sure all the demands are, all the fan mail.
No.
It must be hard. Do you have your kids do the fan mail every day for you?
Just the 3 emails I got last week, and it's just overwhelming. No, just I want to figure out the balance early before I.
Sure. Yeah.
Just.
Have you talked to some of the greats and asked for advice on that?
I need to, but I have not.
Okay. Well, when you find out, let us know.
I need your advice. How many books do you have out? 5?
No,
What's your advice?
I sent you my 5th. I sent you my 5th this morning.
Oh yes, I saw that come through.
4. I have 4, but I don't have a pub board and all that. What were you saying?
Oh, nothing.
I'm so glad to be able to talk to you again. It's been I've talked to you on Zooms, but it's been a long time since we did an interview, and I'm really glad to be able to be talking to you about your book now and hear about what God is doing and what He's doing next soon. It's so exciting, and I'm happy for you.
Thank you.
These days we're going to meet in person, and this hardcover will be signed.
Well, thank you.
Thanks for chatting. Yeah, thanks for chatting with me today. Yeah, you do like all these video interviews all the time now. Have you done a bunch of like podcasts and interviews and stuff?
Yeah, some. I feel like they're pretty rough, and I feel bad for the podcast hosts because I'm like, oh man,
like she's obviously a debut author.
Yeah, and they're like, probably not gonna have her back. She doesn't say anything. She makes everything sound so boring.
Oh my goodness, not true.
Oh well.
Yay. Well, you have a good day, and I will get this uploaded.
All right. You too. It's fun talking with you. Bye.